So we're in chapter 2 on to section 11. And this chapter we're going to talk about measurements all in the English system that we use in United States. So these are not metric. We're just going to first go by English, and then we're going to go into the decimal system. Right? First they want to know if you know your English system first, right? So basically, linear measurements are to measure line segments. You know that. And then line segments have only one dimension, length. The inch is the smallest commonly used linear unit. Distance smaller than 1 inch are fractions of an inch, and larger distance can be measured by feet, yards, or even miles. So you need to know these to make life a lot easier. So we have 12 inches equal 1 foot. You know that. 36 inches equal 1 yard. You should know that. 3 feet equal 1 yard. And this one is a good one to know, to memorize too. 5,280 feet are in a mile. And you can divide this number, 5,280, by 3, so you have 1,760 yards in a mile. So these are the ones you need to know, so as for linear, linear measurements. This measures linear, how far. This is not volume and not area. So on to the next. Liquid and dry measures measure capacity. So capacity means how much something can hold. So if you're going to measure how much they could hold, a fluid ounce is the basic liquid measure in the English system, and it is multiplied to cups. Say you're doing a recipe, how many cups, how many pints, how many quarts, and how many gallons. So here we have measurements for capacity. Capacity being that volume that's going to hold, right? And so let's look at these volumes, just to know these volumes. So 1 pint, if you have 1 pint, it's going to be 2 cups. So we know we can convert it. If you have a pint of something, you can change that to 2 cups. There's 2 cups in a pint. If you have 2 pints, it's going to be, so you take these 2 pints now, and 2 pints, so we have 2 pints in a quart. Just know that there's 2 pints in a quart. There's 4 quarts in a gallon. That one you probably know, 4 quarts in a gallon. And if you have teaspoons, you have 3 teaspoons equal 1 big tablespoon, right? So if you have a recipe and you have teaspoons and you have to have a tablespoon, and you can see that the difference there, 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. Now for fluid ounces. How many fluid ounces? So as we said before, the fluid ounce is the basic unit. So we need to know fluid ounces. So if you have 1 cup, on one side of the cup, it's going to say 8 fluid ounces. If you have 1 pint, of course, 1 pint is 2 cups. So you're going to multiply that 8 by 2 and you get 16. So there's 16 fluid ounces in 1 pint. You need to know those measurements. So let's go down to this last one here. So English dry measurements now. Those are liquid measurements. Now we have 2 pints, of course, equal 1 quart. That's already known, whether it's dry or liquid. 2 pints are going to equal 1 quart. 2 pints equal 1 quart. 8 quarts, though, 8 quarts of dry stuff is going to be a peck. So have you ever heard of a peck? So if you have 8 quarts of dry, like flour or something, 8 quarts is going to be a peck. I never measured in pecks. And 4 pecks, if you take 4 pecks, so you have 8 quarts equal 1 peck. 4 pecks is going to equal a bushel. Have you ever heard of a bushel basket? So bushel. So 4 pecks, 8 quarts, going to be 1 peck. And 4 of these 8 quarts how many quarts would be? 8 times 4 is 32. 32 quarts would be, or 4 pecks would be 1 bushel. Then, of course, 4 quarts equal a gallon. So the ones you're really going to have to know are these pecks and bushels. Just remember, 8 quarts is a peck, and then you times that by 4 to get a bushel. So 4 pecks are in a bushel. So just using your multiplication table there. So let's go on to time. Time is the measuring of passing years. One solar year equals how many days? 365 days, but 365 days, 5 hours, and 48 minutes. So 4.05 seconds. That's if you took it all. So that's why we have to have a leap year. So it's just slightly less than 365 days and a fourth. And that's why we have leap years. So a regular year contains 365 days. A leap year has 366 days. You probably know this already. For a year to be a leap year, it must be exactly divisible by 4. So unless the year is a century year, then century years must be divisible by 400 to be a leap year. But anyway, these are measures of times, and then you can go by the 365, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46. But the reason all this adds up, and we have a leap year, okay? So the measures of time here. So you should know these also. 60 seconds. How many seconds are in a minute? 60. 60 seconds in a minute. 60 minutes in 1 hour. There's 24 hours in a day, and deep A period is the abbreviation for day. I didn't know that one either. So 24 hours in 1 day. 7 days in 1 week. You know that. So these so far are pretty easy. And there's approximately 52 weeks in 1 year and 365 days in 1 year. That's not leap year. But over here it says there's 366 days in 1 leap year. There's 12 months in 1 year. 10 years, if you have a period of 10 years, they'll say it's a decade. Have you ever heard anybody say decade? Wow, man, it's a decade ago. That means 10 years ago. And then, you have a score, like 4 and 7 years ago, our fathers. What's a score? A score is going to be 20 years. So 4 score, you say, will be 80 years, right? So 1 score is 20 years. So 10 years for a decade, 20 years is a score. And of course, a century is 100 years. A millennium is 1,000 years. These are important to memorize. I think you know about everything, but maybe you didn't know score. 1 score is 20 years. Now we're talking about weight. Weight is the measure of how heavy something is on a scale. The ounce is the basic English measurement of weight. And it's multiplied to pounds and tons. So you have ounce, and you have pounds, and you have tons. So you need to know how many ounces are in a pound. 16 ounces are in a pound. Just remember that. 16 ounces. Another memorizing thing. And how many pounds are in a ton? 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. Okay? So now we're just going to do the conversions of these, and it shouldn't be that hard. Going through these ones down here. So let's kind of go through these. I know the answers are here, but you need to know how we figured these answers. So a pound equals 16 ounces, right? A gallon equals 4 quarts. 1 year, 365 days. These are all written up here, so I'm not going to go over these. Just know that 1 decade is 10 years, and we have 1 pint equals 16 fluid ounces. Ton is 2,000. So all of these are here written. You just have to look them up. So now let's go figuring out if you have more. So here we have, how do we figure these now? Okay, let's see if I focus in here. So on this side here. So we have 400 ounces equals how many pounds? Well, how many ounces are in a pound? So we're going to make this 400 ounces in a pound. There's 16 ounces in a pound, right? So we're going to divide this 400 by 16. And I did it here, 25. So basically, 400 ounces is going to be 25 pounds. We're going to divide that by 16, because 16 ounces in 1 pound. Just think, how many ounces are in a pound. The next one is 2,500 year millennium. We want to know how many millenniums. You're going to divide this 2,500 by 1,000. So you get, because there's 1,000 years in a millennium, you'll divide it, so you get 2.5 in a millennium. Here's another one, 5 So 1,944 inches. Okay, I did that right, 1,544 inches. So we're gonna take how many yards? So we know that there's 36 inches, in a yard. So we're gonna divide it by 36. 36 goes into 1944. And I went ahead here and divided it all up, and guess what? I got 54. So there's 54. 1,944 inches is going to equal 54 yards. So next one, number 7, 32 gallons equals how many quarts? Well, we're going to times this because we have 32 gallons, and there's 4 quarts in a gallon. So there's going to be more quarts because we're times it. So 32 times 4, I did over here. And I got 128 quarts, in 32 gallons. Just times in 32 times 4. Number 9, 7,293 pounds. And when is that a ton? Oh, a ton, yeah. So we're going to divide that 2,000, and I just did it here like this: 7,293 and divided by 2,000. So I got 3.6465 each. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 6. So you can see how I did that there. Divided it out. And so I got, number 9, 3.6465 tons. That's how many, take this many pounds, that's how many tons you're going to have, like 3 tons. Almost 3.6 tons if you rounded it off. Number 11, 7 gallons. So equals how many fluid ounces? Do you remember? Okay, so look here. This is going to take us a process because we have gallons to ounces instead of cups. So we have 16 fluid ounces in 1 pint, right? And 1 cup would be 8 fluid. So 16 fluid ounces in 1 cup, 2 pints in a quart, and 4 quarts in a gallon. So that's how I did it with this one. So I took to find out here 7 times 4. So because 16, basically 16, 7 times, there's going to be 4 is equal how many quarts we're going to have. And we have 28 quarts. And so we times that by 2 pints. Just have to, and then you'll get, I said 56 pints. So 56 times 16. So this will be 57 gallons is 56 pints. That's 56 times 16. 56 times 16 I did. So it's 896 fluid ounces. So you have to find out first how many ounces are in how many, to calculate it out, you have to go by 16 ounces in a pint. And so then you have to find in a gallon how many pints are in a gallon. And that's what I found. So number 13 is the miles, 7.25 miles. And we want to know how many inches. So that's a little bit. So to find out how many inches, basically, going here we have 7.2. Well, forget that. First of all, how many inches is 5,280 feet in a mile, right? So 5,280 times 12, times 12. And so then we got 63,360. Then I said 63,360. This is a harder, times 7.25 there, and I got 459,360. Anyway, it is 459,360. So let's see if I got that right. Make sure. Let's see. 475. Let's see. All right. Forget that problem. I think I got that one wrong. Anyway, so let's go on to add and simplify. So if you're adding and simplifying, somewhere in there, I must have made a mistake on that one. So, but anyway, if you're going to add and simplify, to add ounces, then add the pounds. So you're going to have like this: 12. You have 12 pounds 9 ounces plus 3 pounds 7 ounces plus 9 pounds 8 ounces. So you're going to add these together. So first add up all the ounces. 9, 7, and 8, you get 24 ounces. Then you add up all the pounds and you get 24 pounds. But now since 24 ounces, you're going to see how many ounces are in a pound are 16. So you're going to basically divide that by 16 here, which I did. Divided this 24 divided by 16. So in doing that, we're going to take how many times? So you're going to add another pound. You're going to take a pound off that because of the 16. So 24 minus 16 leaves 8 ounces. And so then you're going to say change that. You're going to add that pound to the 25. So you have 25 pounds and 8 ounces. So these are a little bit harder to do. So we're going to, just because you have to borrow in a different way. These are called add and simplify. So I'm going to go through these add and simplify, and I'm not going to just do a problem with each one, so just one problem. Okay, this is the add and simplify here, what I just did. So let's do number 1. 14 feet 7 inches. These are kind of fun to do. 8 feet 9 inches, 12 feet 11 inches. You're going to add up this column, and then you're going to see, well, how many inches in a foot? 12. So you're going to divide it by 12. 12 inches are in a foot with 3 left over, so you have 2 feet 3 inches. So you're going to add this 2 feet over to this side. 34 plus 2 is 36 feet and 3 inches. So next one, 6 gallons. So you're going to add up, you can put it here, you're going to have 1, 2, 3 pints, and then you're going to have 3, 6, 7, 8 quarts, and then you're going to add up the gallon. Okay, so we have to go each one. So this one says 3 pints. Well, how many pints are in a quart? 2 pints in the quart. So we're going to take, we're going to end up taking 2 of these off. So 1 quart, so 3 pints is going to equal 1 quart and 1 pint. So we're going to add the quart over on this side. 9 quarts and 1 pint. So we're just going to do this first. The next section here, we're going to have to borrow, or we're going to borrow, would be 9 quarts and 1 pint, and then we're going to add 2 quarts and 1 pint, because we added this, to here, and we have 25 gallons now, because here we have, this one here we have 9 quarts and 1 pint. Well, how many quarts are in a gallon? 4. So we're going to divide that by 4, right? So we have 2 gallons and 1 quart. So 9 quarts is going to equal 2 gallons. That's a gallon. That's what kind of got me. 2 gallons and 1 quart. So we're going to add that 2 gallons over to the 23. And we have 25 gallons and 1 quart and 1 pint. So see how I do that? Let's do number 6 here. 11 pounds, 9 ounces, 16 pounds, 7 ounces, 5 ounces. You're going to add these over. You got 18 ounces and 32 pounds. Well, how many ounces are in a pound? 16. So you're going to divide this, by 16, and you're going to basically have, 1 pound. It's going to be 1 pound and 2 ounces. So then you're going to add that 1 pound over here to 30, make it 33, and you'll have 2 ounces left. Here's number 4. 9 years and 11 months, 6 years and 10 months, 3 years. You're going to add up, and you have 30 months, and you have 18 years. So you have 30 months, and you think, well, there's 12 months in a year. So 12 goes into 30 2 times. So you're going to add 2 years. It's going to be 2 years and 6 months. So that's going to be 2 years and 6 months. So you're going to add that 2 years over on this side. So this is 20 years and 6 months. Last one here. 6 hours and 49 minutes, 4 hours and 3 minutes, 7 hours. So you're going to add them all up. You get 17 hours and 104 minutes. Well, how many minutes are in an hour? 60. So you can divide that by 60. You can get 1 hour and 44 minutes. So we have 1 hour and 44 minutes. You can add that over to the 18 hours, 18 hours and 44 minutes. See how you do these? And adding. Now, how to do in subtracting. Let's see if there's an example for subtracting. Yeah, let's have your examples. Same way. So, subtract. So you're going to borrow, here we have 22. We have 22 1 and, well, no, we have 23 yards, 2 feet, and 2 inches. That's our deal. I'm just showing you how to borrow it here. So here's what we have, 23, 2, and 2, 3, minus 16 yards, 2 feet, and 8 inches. Well, the first thing we look here, so we have, you can't take 8 from 2 in the inches, so you have to borrow. So they crossed out the 2, they borrowed 1, and they put 14 here because if they borrow a foot, it's going to be 12 inches, right? Plus this 2 is going to be 14 inches because you have to add that 2. So they borrow a foot, make this 14 inches. And so 14 minus 8 is 6. Okay, but now we borrowed 1 here, so we only have 1 foot. So you can't take 2 from 1 foot, can you? So we had to borrow over here, so we have to borrow a yard. So we borrowed a yard and made this 22 yards. And now there's 3 feet in a yard. So if there's 3 feet in the yard, we have 1 yard, so we have to add the 3 feet, making it 4. So 4 minus 2 is 2 feet, and then 22 minus 16 is 6 yards. See how I did that? You borrow, but when you borrow, you have to borrow how many feet there are, or how many are in the yard, so that's important to do. So subtracting. So let's go over some subtracting problems here. So we have these subtracting. We have 7 feet, 12 inches. Oh wait, do we have 12 inches? No, it's 7 feet minus this one here. 7 feet, 3 feet and 6 inches. So I had to borrow here, that's what I did. So here we have 7 feet, 6 inches. So we can't take 6 from 0, can we? So we have to borrow 12 inches from this and make this 6 feet, and this is 12 inches. Now we say 12 minus 6 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3 feet. Pretty easy one. Let's do the next one, which is 11 gallons and 2 quarts. We have to take 3 quarts from 2. So we're going to basically, the 3 quarts, we can't do that. So we're going to borrow a gallon. How many quarts in a gallon? Is 4. So we're going to add 4 quarts. We have to add it to that 2 and make this 6. 2 plus 4 equals 6. So we have 6 minus 3 equal 3 quarts. And we borrowed here that gallon. So we have 10 gallons minus 6 equal 4 gallons. Let's do this one here. 3 yards, 16 inches, 1 yard. So here we can't take 35 from 16, so we have to borrow. And how many inches in a yard is 36? So we're going to borrow 1 yard, making this 2 yards. We have to add 36 plus the 16, which is 52 inches. So then we have 52 inches minus 35, so is 17 inches. So we'll have 17 inches. And then, of course, 2 minus 1 is 1 yard. So, getting this? Here's kind of a 6 bushels, 2 pecks, and 2 quarts. This one you have to know how many pecks, as you know. So there's 2 quarts, so 3, you can't take 3 from 2, so you're going to have to borrow a peck. So we borrowed a peck, but how many quarts are in a peck? 8. So we take 8 plus 2 is 10, so we turn this to 10. So now we have 10 quarts minus 3 quarts equals 7 quarts. And here we have, we borrowed 5 pecks minus 3 is 2 pecks. And then, of course, we can't take 3 from 5, so we had to borrow from the bushel here. So we made this 6. And this is 2 pecks. And how many, we look at how many pecks, and we ended up changing that to 5. 4 pecks in a bushel. Did I change that to 5? Yeah. Because we borrowed this and it made this 1. We had 1 left. And so then we changed this to 4 plus 1 is 5. So we have 5. And then we subtract 2 pecks and 7 quarts. I didn't put the 1 there. I kind of confused it. So 5 plus 1 are 4 pecks in a bushel plus, anyway. So that one's kind of a hard one because you have to know the peck thing, huh? Let's do this one here. 9 years and 2 months minus 3 years and 10 months. So we have to borrow here. We borrowed 8. And how many months are 12? So 12 plus 2 is 14 months. So 14 months minus 10 months is going to be 4 months. And 8 minus 3 is, so that one's a pretty easy one. last one here. 5 tons, 174 pounds and 3 ounces. Let me subtract. Let's go over to this side first. So we have to borrow here. So we have to borrow. So we have to know how many, basically, how many 16 ounces, right? So we borrowed the basically borrowing the 16 ounces, making 19 ounces. We borrowed 16 ounces here. Just forget about these lines right now. I have 174, so we made this. This is going to be 173. We borrowed a pound, and so we have 16 ounces plus 3. So we have 19 ounces. 19 minus 4 is 15 ounces. Okay, now we go over to here, and this is per borrowing. So you have 5 tons, you know, so here we actually just can, this one's 174 minus 109, so that's 64. We don't have to borrow anything there. And then 5 minus 2 is 3. So this one you just subtract, regular subtracting here, and you get 64 pounds. I mean, you borrowed regular numbers there, so. Okay, now let's go with example on multiplying. I want to get through this whole thing, so. Multiplying, how you do multiply. Multiply 8 months by 9, okay, here we go. 9 years, 8 months here, right? So times 9, so we times this side. 8 times 9 is 72 months, 9 times 9 is 81 years, okay? But we can change, we can simplify this here and change this. 72 months equal how many years? Well, so, decide 72 months has years in it, so we can divide 72 by 12 months in a year. So we divide it by 12, and we get 6 years, right? So now we have an extra 6 years. So now we can add the 6 to 81, and it's 87 years. So, see how I did that? So. Okay, let's see. I'll do a couple of these just to show you how to do them. So 6 pounds, 9 ounces times 11. So, you know, you times 99 ounces here and 66 pounds. And then the 99 ounces are 16 ounces in a pound. So I divided the 99 here by 16, and I got, basically got 6. So we just plus 66 plus 6 equals 72 pounds with a 3 ounces. Let's see, there's 3 ounces left over with the remainder 3. So you have 72 pounds and 3 ounces. So here's another one. 5 weeks and 6 times 9, 6 days, 54 days, and 45 weeks, right? 5 times 9. So 54 days, well, how many days are in a week? You know that's 7. So you're going to take 54 divided by 7, and you're going to get 7 weeks and 5 days. So you're going to have 5 days left over. So when you take that 7 weeks and add it to the other side, 45 plus 7 more weeks equal 52 weeks, and 52 weeks are actually 1 year. So this is going to end up 1 year and 5 days. So, okay. The last example is going to be dividing, same way we did before. So we have 20 years and 3 months. So the first thing, we're going to divide 20 by 3 here, and we get 6 years. So 6 times 3 is 18. So we're going to subtract, and we have 2 years left. And then basically we have 2 years left. I'm going to rewrite the 2 years left as 24, and then add 3 months to get 27. So anyway, 6 years. And so we're going to have we have the 2 year, we're going to have 27. You know, because we're going to write that 2 years as 27 months, right? And then we can divide that 27 months, because we did the 6 year and we know how many months. So we're going to have to take that 2 years and make it into months, which is 24 plus 3 more months. See, it's kind of a little bit. This one here, I don't know. So you're going to have a little bit. First of all, you divide 20 by 3, which you got 6, 18. Now we have 2 years left, right? And so then we're going to go up here and 3 months to divide it. To do this here, we have 2 years left. So we're going to take the 2 years, which is 24 months, and add it to the 3 months. And we get 27 months. And 3 goes into 27 9 times. So that's a little bit more difficult. Let's see if I even have that one in F. Let's see. I don't think I even did any of those problems. Let's see. Division. Oh, here's some. Maybe this is it. I guess number. Divide. Oh yeah, this is the one we just did. So here we're going to divide this. Let me go over this. This is a divide 15 yards by 25. Let's show you. I'll show you one of these because he's a little harder. So you have 5 goes into 15 3 times. And so then you have 5 goes into 25 5 times. So this one's really easy. Straight on. It goes in there 3 times with none left over. And so then you have 5 goes in there 25 times. So it's basically 3 yards and 25 inches for that one. That one's a really easy one. Now we're going to go to number 3 over here. And so we have 4 goes into 616.4 ounces. Well, this you just divide. You can divide out, So 4 goes into 6 4 times. You subtract and you bring the 1 down, 21 and 20, 16, bring it down. Anyway, you got 154 and 1 ounce. That one's an easy one too. So anyway, I don't see any that. I don't think I did. Oh, this one here's the one. Here's one that we have that problem. So we have 5 goes into how many? 11 yards 2 times. So we have 10 yards. Now we have one. This one's left over. We have 1 yard, and we have 1 yard and 4 inches. So now we want to change this to yards. So how many yards are in or how many feet? How many inches are in a yard? 36 inches. So we say 36 plus 4. Right here, 36 plus 4 is 40 inches. So now we say 5 goes into 40 inches 8 times, and you have 8 inches. See how I did that? So anyway, let's see. I did a couple of the problems here, and this is going to be it. So this number 1. Tracy is practicing for music concert at her school. She had the following practice times, and they're listed there. Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday. I'm not going to repeat them. You have them written there. How much did she practice in all? So we had to add them all up, didn't we? So here we added them all up. 1 hour, 15, all these hours. And we came up to 8 hours and 75 minutes. Well, how many minutes are an hour? 60. So 60 is going to be 1 hour and 15 minutes, right? And so we add the 1 hour, so it's 9 hours and 15 minutes. And we add it up. And so the next part of it says, how much longer did she practice on Tuesday than Monday? It's an abstraction problem. So here's Tuesday and here's Monday. So we have 2 hours and 10 minutes minus 1 hour and 25 minutes. Well, can't take 25 from there, so we're going to have to borrow 1 here, borrow an hour. So 60 minutes is 70 minutes. And so the 70 minus 25 is 45 minutes. See, we just had to borrow. Number C, the other part is what was her average practice time? So to find the average practice time, how many days do we have? We have 5 days. So we take this number, 9 hours and 15 minutes, and then we divide it by 5 to find the average practice time. So 9 hours and 15 minutes by adding them all up and divide it by 5, because 5 days a week. So 9 goes into 5, 1 hour. So 9 minus 5 is, you have 4 hours and 15 minutes. We would change this to minutes. You have 255 minutes. So then you would find out how many times does 5 go into 255. It goes in 51. So we have 51 minutes. So it's a little bit harder. How about this number 2? Number 2, the junior class is preparing decorations for a special party. They have a red ribbon that's 16 feet and 6 inches long. You need to cut it into 9 pieces the same. So we're going to divide it. So 16 feet and 6 inches. So we have 9 goes into 16, 1 time 9, 7 feet and 6 inches. So basically, 7 feet and 6 inches is because there's 12 inches in a foot, and you 12 times 7 is 84, plus that 6, you have 90 inches. So that's how much you're going to need. Okay, see how to do these? I'm not going to do any more of these either, so. Yep, that's it. That's all I'm going to do today. It's getting a little long on this one. So then we'll finish up on the quizzes going into the next